Okay guys, welcome back. We're going to cover something really fun today, safety. As fun as safety is, it's really important, and I think it's good to be aware of some special considerations when it comes to CBD, because it is a fairly novel product. A lot of the research to date has shown that CBD is incredibly safe when used under certain conditions, but we're going to cover a few of the nuances of use, which which require a little further exploration. So good to know this kind of stuff. So as well as we love to shout about the efficacy of CBD and its effectiveness, we really want to highlight its safe use as well. So let's get into it. So the safe usage of CBD depends on the person taking it. And for most people, it's completely safe, but for some people, there may be special considerations. So, for example, in pregnancy or when a new mother is breastfeeding, CBD would be contraindicated. So, it wouldn't be advisable to take CBD then, because cannabinoids can actually affect neuronal growth of developing babies, which is why CBD is not recommended during pregnancy or for children under 18, because the brain is still developing at that stage. So there's no really solid research on this in humans to show that whether CBD may have a beneficial impact or a negative impact. But since we know that the mechanisms are there for cannabinoids like CBD to influence neuronal growth, it's better to be on the safe side and say, look, when you're having a kid, or you're raising your kid, it's best to err on the side of caution. Even in breastfeeding, cannabinoids can travel through breast milk, so that would be something that could affect the child's neuronal growth after birth, basically. So, pregnancy and breastfeeding, those special considerations, and anyone on prescription medication should always consult with their GP before using CBD. And this is something that we take very seriously, and we want to echo to you as users and to anyone which you might be involved with the use as well, your followers, audience, clients, whatever. That's mainly because CBD can lower blood pressure, which may be a beneficial thing for some people, but if others are already on blood pressure lowering medications, then there could be an interaction there. Similarly, blood thinners as well, like warfarin. CBD could also thin the blood, so taking it with warfarin may have an added effect. So that's a special consideration there. And CBD shares a number of mechanisms of action with other drugs. Like, a lot of people who use Valium or Xanax to relax may find that CBD produces a similar effect because they share similar pathways to do that. So taking CBD with these drugs like Valium, for example, may have an additive effect in the nervous system, which may not necessarily be what you want. So that's just something to be cognizant about. And high doses of CBD may increase the potency and therefore the toxicity of other drugs. So basically, CBD influences the activity of liver enzymes, which are needed to break down certain drugs. So when one is on a drug, CBD may inhibit the breakdown of that drug, meaning that it's around in the body for longer and has higher blood levels. So there are quite a lot of side effects with a lot of drugs, and the side effects do depend on how much of the dose or how much of the bioavailability of the drug. So where it's especially hard when someone's on polypharmacy, they're on a lot of drugs, and CBD gets thrown into the mix because there can be an interaction there, potentially increasing the risk of side effects from their existing drugs. So This is why it's always important to work with a GP. You know, they might outline a dosing strategy for CBD for someone on medication so that they take it 8 hours apart from their other medications or something like that. But that's just a special consideration there. Drug tests. This is a question we get fairly often, but it's a bit of a tricky situation for some people, but there are solutions. So the sad thing is that the drug testing for cannabinoids isn't that sophisticated yet. So even with full spectrum CBD oils, which contain below the legal limit of 0.2% THC, could potentially, I have heard stories of this, could potentially yield in a positive result on a drugs test after long-term use daily at high doses, because the THC can accumulate in the body, not to the point where it produces any psychoactive effects, but it just gets stored in fat tissue, and that can tip the scales for some people. It depends on individual factors like metabolism and exercise and how much someone sweats. But you know that even legal products used over the long term could be problematic for a professional who gets drug tested, or a professional athlete. So we'd always recommend discussing openly the use of legal CBD products with an employer, especially working with the public sector, as the likelihood of a test might be much higher. So being open about it, saying that you're using legal products might help lay the foundation there. But most products, you can get CBD products with 0 THC, which are broad spectrum and CBD isolate, and this is a way around this for athletes and professionals. So, as I said before, our oral drops are pretty much broad spectrum. They contain below 0.05% THC. Sometimes it's not even detectable. So there's a far lesser risk. There's a far lesser risk with our oils, but we can't guarantee that there's 0 THC. So those just considerations there. So